At the dining table, Anna, 28, lifted her fork but froze when Patricia's sharp voice cut the room in half. "You are not part of this family anymore. Don't come back." The words rang louder than the clink of cutlery. James avoided her gaze, staring at his glass as though it carried answers. Daniel leaned back in his chair with a smirk that looked rehearsed. Anna's heart thumped painfully in her chest. "What are you saying?" she whispered, but no one responded. Instead, Patricia's eyes turned cold as stone. James pressed his lips together, and Daniel's fingers pointed straight at the door. A chair scraped the floor. The front door slammed. Outside, the lock clicked and the key in Anna's hand suddenly turned useless. She pounded on the door, desperate. "Open this door. Please." Silence pressed back. Trembling, she walked down the street with her bag half-zipped, tears fighting for release. By nightfall, she checked into a cheap roadside lodge. On the thin mattress, her chest felt tight and her mind raced. "Why this? Why now?" she muttered to the ceiling. She didn't know it yet, but a letter already traveled her way. One page from her late Aunt Felicia that would flip everything upside down. 7 days later, Anna's phone buzzed with an email marked urgent from a law office. She wiped her palms before opening it. "Trust in your name. Housing rights. Creative funds." The words made her breath hitch. "From Felicia?" she murmured. Felicia had always been the only one who told her, "Do not bow." At the bottom, a bold line read, "Call immediately." Anna let out a dry laugh, half disbelief, half relief. "Thrown out last week, needed this week. Is this real?" She paced the small lodge room, heartbeat thundering in her ears. "If it isn't real, I'll fall harder." Her thumb hovered, then pressed call. A steady male voice answered, "Dan Kanu speaking." Anna swallowed. "This is about the trust?" She could barely form the words. He confirmed in calm tones. A trust in her name, housing rights, living support and funds for screenwriting. All created by Felicia. "There's also a letter from her," he added. Anna's knees almost gave way. "A letter?" she repeated, pressing her hand to her chest. Dan's voice grew softer. "Yes. It's being delivered today." Anna sat frozen on the lodge bed, listening to her own pulse echo in the silence. The door that slammed last week might not be final. "Felicia," she whispered. Memories flooded her. Felicia on the veranda, reading Anna's stories as if they mattered. "Your words carry a spine," she used to say. "Give them courage." Felicia had gifted Anna an old typewriter, its keys heavy with promise. "When love turns to control, choose truth," she had told her. Anna's eyes stung as she looked at the chipped walls of the lodge. That night she opened her notebook and began writing. Click, click, click. Small defiances spilled onto the page like rain. She wrote of a daughter who stopped begging at a locked door. In the margin she underlined the words Felicia had repeated countless times. "Do not bow." Morning light leaked through the curtains when a courier knocked. Anna's hands shook as she signed and held a thick envelope to her chest. "This changes everything," she whispered. Inside the envelope lay legal papers, bank statements, and a sealed note in Felicia's familiar hand. Anna tore it open with trembling fingers. "My dear child, your stories matter. This trust is your shield when love becomes control. The house is your right. The funds are for your voice. Do not bow." The ink blurred under her tears. Anna pressed the paper to her heart. "I hear you," she whispered. She flipped through the clauses again and again. Housing security, maintenance, creative grants, and even legal fees if challenged. Felicia had planned it all carefully. Anna placed the letter beside her laptop like a lighthouse. Something shifted in her chest. Not fear this time, but resolve with teeth. She opened her banking app to plan the week, but froze. The emergency account she once shared with Daniel showed a fresh withdrawal. 1,000. His name sat beside the transfer like a smirk. Her jaw tightened. She took a screenshot, opened a new folder and labeled it proof. On a blank page she wrote, "I will not be silent." She picked up the phone again. "Remy? Add this to the file," Anna said, her voice steady. The lawyer listened. "Noted. We'll need full bank trails." Anna didn't hesitate. "Get them." After the call, she closed her eyes, inhaled deeply, and pictured a meeting table where she wouldn't arrive empty-handed. Later that evening, Remy called back. "We traced larger discrepancies. Trust funds moved into Patricia's events without your consent. Office upgrades. A vehicle. Total misuse. 150,000. Anna gripped her pen so tightly it nearly snapped. Set a meeting. All of them there. Tomorrow 10 noon. She laid out highlighters, tabs, and Felicia's letter on the desk. In the mirror she rehearsed 3 lines until they felt like bone. You locked me out. Felicia protected me. I do not bow. Closing the folder, she placed her hand on its weight. For the first time in years she chose not to be afraid. Morning arrived like a drumbeat. Anna tied her hair back, slipped into a plain blouse, and slid Felicia's letter into the front of her folder like armor. She looked at herself in the mirror. No panic this time, only heat in her eyes. You locked me out. Felicia protected me. I do not bow, she whispered one last time. She walked toward the office building where the family meeting would be held. The conference room hummed with air conditioning and unspoken tension. Patricia sat tall, her jaw locked. Daniel leaned back as if it were a casual lunch. James traced the wood grain with his ring, never looking up. Lawyer Remy opened his file. Let's keep this orderly, he said firmly. Remy laid out the bank trails, emails, and signatures. These transfers came from the trust without Anna's consent. Daniel gave a short laugh. The company needed help, he said, shrugging. Patricia's smile was sharp, almost sweet. Family supports family. Remy's tone didn't change. The trust forbids personal or business use without the beneficiary's approval. Anna placed Felicia's letter in the center of the table. The room grew still, the air so tight that James's ring tapping the table sounded like thunder. Daniel broke first. You're not taking anything, he snapped. Anna slid her screenshot across the table. You already did. The emergency account. $1,000. Your name is on the transfer. His smirk slipped for the first time. Daniel tried to shrug again. It was a short loan, he muttered. Remy marked the page. Unauthorized. Patricia leaned forward, voice dripping with honey. Look at what we built, Anna. You wrote pages, but we paid bills. Anna met her gaze without flinching. Felicia paid attention, she answered softly. She pointed at the trust clause. The beneficiary rights. Not you. Remy added, an audit is in motion. Restitution will follow. James shifted uneasily in his seat, throat clearing, but still he didn't meet Anna's eyes. Daniel's foot tapped under the table now. Patricia's smile faltered. Patricia tried a new tactic. Come back. We'll handle this privately, she offered. The familiar hook in her voice tugged, but Anna stood her ground. No, she turned to James. Say something true. His mouth opened, then closed. Remy continued briskly, outlining terms. Immediate restoration of the creative fund, property transfer to Anna, repayment for all misused amounts and penalties if obstructed. Daniel scoffed. You can't force us. Remy met his eyes. The trust can. And the court will. Patricia's fingers curled into fists. You'll ruin us. Anna didn't blink. You ruined trust. She gathered the papers, slid Felicia's letter back into her folder and stood. Her chair didn't scrape. She left the conference room steady, though outside her legs trembled. Remy walked beside her. You were clear, he said. You were prepared, she replied. He laid out the next steps. Provisional signatures today. Formal filings tomorrow. Property transfer within 2 weeks. Audit notices by Friday. They may stall. Anna tightened her grip on her folder. Then I'll keep receipts, she said firmly. Remy smiled faintly. In the elevator, the doors closed on stale family air. Anna exhaled for the first time that day, touching her pocket where Felicia's letter rested. The door that had once shut her out wasn't the last door. The next days blurred into courier stamps, notarized pages, and ringing phones she no longer answered. Patricia sent long messages full of excuses and threats. Daniel switched between insults and pleas. James remained silent, a shadow at the edges. Anna blocked their numbers, unblocked to screenshot, then blocked again. She taped a note above her desk. Protect the work. Protect the self. At night, she read Felicia's letter once, tracing the words do not bow. Each time her fear loosened more. 2 weeks later, Remy called with news. It's done. Property transferred. Funds restored. Audit scheduled. Anna closed her eyes in relief. She unlocked the door of her new apartment, small but filled with possibility. The smell of fresh paint greeted her like hope. Sunlight stretched across the empty floor. She placed her laptop on the counter, then carefully set Felicia's letter beside it. By evening she had brought in a second-hand desk, a chair and a lamp. The old typewriter took its place like a guardian. Anna sat down, opened a blank document and typed a title, Break the Lock. Her first line read, "A daughter stops begging at a closed door and starts building a new one." She whispered, "This time it's me." Each morning Anna wrote by the window until her coffee grew cold. In the afternoons she searched grants and film labs, rewriting her log lines to hit hard. Evenings she walked the streets, letting dialogue follow her steps. One afternoon an email arrived from a community program. "We love the heart in your pages. Join our development cohort." Anna's heart leapt. At orientation, a director named Theo read her pages and nodded. "Your character spine is strong," he said. A producer named Miriam added, "The world feels real. Let's build it right." Anna laughed softly, half relief, half prayer. Workshops reshaped her drafts. Theo circled scenes. Cut the apology. Keep the choice. Miriam scribbled notes on a whiteboard. Lean crew, big feeling, clear stakes. They argued about endings but always protected the bruised, quiet moments. Anna rewrote until the pages felt alive. At night she heard Patricia's voice in her head but wrote over it with Felicia's words instead. Theo sketched camera moves on napkins. Miriam emailed contacts and pulled together a tiny resource list. "It's not much," she told Anna, "but it opens a door." Anna printed a new draft, placed Felicia's letter on top and whispered, "Guide me." Remy called again with audit updates. Purchase orders stamped with James's signature. Invoices for glossy billboards. A luxury car Daniel now drove. "Restitution is formal," Remy said. "They're angry." Anna nodded, determination sharpening. "I'm working." That evening she edited a monologue where her heroine refused to return to a burning house. Theo read it aloud and whistled. "That lands." Miriam leaned forward. "Let's shoot a proof of concept. Just one decisive moment." Anna's heart raced. She opened a new folder titled Break the Lock, short. For the first time she felt like her voice wasn't just surviving. It was building. Production day dawned with stubborn clouds. The crew was tiny. Theo on camera, Miriam handling logistics, 2 actors, 1 sound bag, borrowed lights and tape that refused to stick. Anna sat at Video Village, which was just a folding chair and her thermos. Scene 3, Theo called. "Action." The actress playing the mother froze the room with a single glance. The daughter's chin lifted, steady. She did not bow. Anna watched, her hand covering her mouth as the scene landed like a held breath released. By sunset the story lived on memory cards and tired smiles. Miriam clapped once. "We got it." They cut the footage in a borrowed suite that smelled of coffee and resolve. Theo trimmed silence until it sang. Miriam nudged pacing. Tight, then tender, then tight again. Anna chose the title card, Break the Lock. The score was simple. A violin chasing a drumbeat like a heart refusing to give up. The final shot was a letter folded in a steady hand. When the last frame clicked, they sat in the screen's quiet glow. "It feels honest," Theo murmured. Miriam smiled. "It feels earned." Anna pressed her palms together. For once she didn't feel small. She felt seen. Anna uploaded the short film and sent the link to 3 festivals and 1 showcase. Then she let the chair hold her shaking relief. A week later her email pinged. Official selection. Anna clapped a hand over her mouth, breath caught between laughter and tears. Theo and Miriam arrived buzzing with excitement. The screening room was small and full, the air thick with hope. On screen the daughter stepped back from the locked door. The audience went silent, then exhaled together. Applause began in the back and rolled forward like rain. Anna wiped her cheeks. "They heard it," she whispered. During the Q&A, a coordinator leaned forward. "Submit your feature," she said. "Panel meets next month. Your voice belongs in the room." Anna nodded, heart pounding. That night she walked home slowly, feet aching but head clear. Her phone buzzed with an unknown number. "Family matters are for family," the text read. Anna deleted it unopened. At her desk she wrote instead. A scene where the heroine kept a door open, but only for herself. She taped a sticky note above her desk. Clarity beats drama. Truth beats noise. Then she whispered, "This is the only story I'll tell." Pitch day arrived. The room was bright with too many windows. Producers sat with clipped smiles, pens ready. Anna breathed once and began. A woman is locked out by her own family and learns to unlock herself. Questions flew. Scope, budget, audience. She answered simply. One producer tapped a pen. Sounds personal. Anna held his gaze. It is. Another asked, and the ending? Anna's voice didn't waver. She stops asking that door for love. Silence followed, then a smile. Notes scribbled, cards exchanged. By the time she left, her hands had stopped shaking. She had earned her place. At a bakery afterward, sugar dust floated like confetti. Theo grinned. You held the room. Miriam tapped her notebook. Next steps. Script polish, casting map, finance path. Together they wrote a list titled Non-Negotiables. No guilt bait. No miracle apology. No false bows. Anna added, protect the crew. Miriam added, protect the story. Theo smiled. Protect Anna. They clinked paper cups. Outside, the day felt wider, as if the street had moved its walls. Anna tucked Felicia's letter back into her folder. We build slow. We build right, she said. They both nodded. The plan felt like scaffolding for a new house. Remy called with final outcomes. Restitution plan approved. Penalties assessed. Their access to the trust is closed. Anna swallowed hard. Felicia kept her promise. Remy corrected gently, you enforced it. That evening her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. She flipped it face down. Instead she opened her draft. She rewrote a scene where the father almost spoke, then chose silence. The daughter chose herself anyway. Anna hummed softly as she typed. For the first time, the thought of opening night didn't terrify her. She pictured a crowd of strangers who would recognize themselves in her story. Weeks turned into pages and pages turned into a plan. Anna, Theo, and Miriam cut a simple mood reel. Doorways, hands, keys, letters, faces learning to lift. They pitched the reel to a small angel investor who preferred stories that healed. After watching, he nodded. Your lead is not a victim. Good. He wrote a modest check with clear milestones. They split it across development, a teaser, and legal support. Whenever old memories clawed at her, porch light pounding, silence heavy, Anna let them pass through. I'm not erasing the past, she told herself. I'm building something stronger beside it. A journalist reached out for an interview about boundaries. Anna hesitated but finally agreed. She chose plain words. Sometimes love arrives mixed with control. You don't have to drink it. The article ran with a still from the short. Her heroine's chin lifted, letter in hand. Messages poured into her inbox. I saw myself, one wrote. I'm starting over, said another. Anna replied to a few before bed. You are not alone. She leaned back in her chair, exhaustion in her bones but a new steadiness in her heart. For the first time her words felt bigger than herself. Morning rehearsals became routine. Actors read new scenes. Theo lowered the script and whispered, keep that line. Miriam circled a beat. Protect this moment. Anna scribbled notes, her mind buzzing with adjustments. Then an email landed. Feature lab invitation. She froze, then laughed into her sleeve. She called Theo and Miriam, who showed up minutes later with pastries and loud ideas. They filled a wall with sticky notes. Character backstories, production design, grants to chase, partners to approach. In the corner, Anna pinned Felicia's letter. Under it, she taped a card that read, I will not beg for love from a locked door. Draft by draft, the world sharpened. A daughter chose herself. A house became a metaphor. A key turned into a pen. On the lab's final night, teaser scenes played for the cohort. Anna's came last. The heroine stepped away from the threshold, not in anger but in clarity. The frame held. The room stayed silent, breath caught. Finally, a mentor spoke. You found the weight in the lift. Guard them. Anna's throat tightened as she nodded. Theo squeezed her shoulder. Miriam pressed a tissue into her palm. Outside, the air smelled like fresh rain. For the first time, the future felt open. Back home, Anna set the typewriter beside her laptop and cleaned its keys. She opened the window, letting in soft air, and read Felicia's letter aloud. Do not bow. She whispered back, I won't. Her phone buzzed again with another unknown number. She flipped it face down and wrote instead, Final scene. A woman steps from a locked door into light she made herself. Final line, she does not bow. She builds. She saved the draft, closed her eyes, and thanked the woman who had believed in her first. Tomorrow I polish, pitch and plan, she murmured. Tonight I rest. Days became weeks. Anna's team pieced together a teaser reel with doorways, light breaking through windows, and a hand holding a folded letter. They screened it for the investor who leaned forward. Your heroine stands. That matters. Anna's chest filled with pride. Miriam nodded toward the future. Next is casting. And we'll need a bigger crew. Theo added, and bigger doors to open. Anna smiled softly. We'll build them. The check cleared and they bought what they needed most. Time, focus and belief. Anna whispered to herself at night. Slow. Steady. True. The investors' support gave them room to breathe, but it didn't silence the family. A cousin called, warning that Patricia was spreading stories in the press. Anna stayed calm. She can build noise. I'll build truth. She doubled down on rehearsals. Scenes reshaped, dialogue sharpened. She wrote monologues that sounded like thunder and silences that bruised. No false bows, she reminded her cast. Theo nodded. We'll protect that. Miriam scribbled financing options. We'll chase grants and co-productions. The team moved like scaffolding around her, lifting each beam carefully into place. Anna's heart steadied. This was hers to finish. On a cool evening, Anna walked home past glowing shop windows. She carried her script under her arm, Felicia's letter tucked inside. She stopped at a bakery for a small treat, sugar dust floating in the air like hope. She thought about everything, the slammed door, the trust, the short film, the applause. Every step had carried her further from the night she was locked out. She smiled to herself. I don't need that door, she whispered. She had built another one. When she reached her apartment, she set her script and letter on the desk and typed a new line. Freedom tastes new. The feature lab pushed Anna harder than she expected. Mentors asked, why this story? Why now? She answered without hesitation. Because I lived it. Other writers leaned in, nodding. They all carried locked doors of their own. Late nights blurred into sticky notes, rewrites, and coffee. Anna cut entire scenes, added sharper beats, and circled back to her heroine's spine. Theo reminded her, protect her choice. Miriam added, protect her silence too. Anna underlined both in her script margins. Felicia's letter stayed pinned above her desk, guiding her like a lighthouse. Halfway through the lab, Remy called again. Audit complete. Misused funds confirmed. Restitution plan in place. Penalties enforced. Anna exhaled. And the trust. Close to them forever, he said. She nodded, relief washing through her. Thank you, Remy. After the call, she walked to her desk and wrote a new scene. A daughter walked through a house of echoes, picked up her own pen and left the lights on for herself. Anna smiled faintly. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm writing what I deserve. At the lab showcase, producers filled the small room, notebooks in hand. Anna breathed deeply before speaking. This story is about learning not to bow. About walking away from doors that only know how to lock. The teaser reel played. The room went quiet as the heroine lifted her chin and refused to knock. When the lights came up, a producer leaned forward. Your lead isn't a victim. She's power in motion. Another added, it feels universal. Family, betrayal, truth, it travels. Anna smiled softly. That's what Felicia told me. Truth travels. Cards exchanged, hands shook. After the showcase, Anna, Theo, and Miriam celebrated with cheap pizza and too much laughter. We're getting closer, Miriam said, scribbling ideas on napkins. Theo leaned back. Closer means harder. Bigger money. Bigger risks. Anna nodded. Then we climb slow. He tapped the napkin. No shortcuts. They all agreed. Later that night, Anna walked home under streetlights. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. This time she blocked it without opening. She whispered to the night air, I'm not theirs to wound anymore. The months ahead were full of casting calls and long days. Actors read lines in cramped studios. Some were wrong, some too polished. But one young actress stood tall, her voice trembling but steady on one line. I will not bow. Anna's eyes stung. That's it, she whispered. Theo grinned. Found her. Miriam scribbled the name. Protect her too, she added. The room felt alive with possibility. Anna thought back to the night Patricia's voice had cut her down and realized. This was the answer. She was building voices louder than silence. Filming the proof of concept expanded into something larger. The crew grew. Lights, cameras, a real location. Anna sat at Video Village again, watching her words come alive. One scene cut her deepest. The mother slamming the door, the daughter turning away. The actress whispered, "Do not bow," and the crew went still. Tears filled Anna's eyes. Miriam placed a hand on her shoulder. You okay? Anna nodded. More than okay. She sang what I couldn't that night. Theo whispered, and now the world will hear it. Post-production stretched late into nights of glowing screens. Theo adjusted color, Miriam fought for pacing, and Anna stayed awake watching every frame. When the final cut rolled, the title card glowed, Break the Lock. The score rose, a violin chasing one drumbeat, steady and fierce. They watched the final scene again. A folded letter, a daughter's steady walk into light. Silence hung, then Theo whispered, "That's the one." Anna leaned back, exhausted but proud. "It's ours now," she said. Festival submissions followed. Weeks turned into waiting. Then one morning an email subject line froze Anna's breath. Official feature selection. She screamed so loudly her neighbor knocked. Theo and Miriam rushed over, pastries in hand. They read it together, eyes wide, voices tangled with laughter and disbelief. "We're in," Miriam gasped. "We're actually in." Anna pressed Felicia's letter to her chest. She'd say, "We built slow. We built right." They huddled together, a small team with a big story finally recognized. The festival screening room buzzed with industry chatter. Anna sat in the back, heart pounding. On screen, her heroine stopped begging at a door and walked into her own light. The room grew still, then erupted in applause. Tears blurred Anna's vision. During the Q&A, a producer asked, "What inspired this?" Anna's voice didn't waver. "Because once I was locked out. But a letter reminded me I didn't have to bow." The room exhaled as if they had all carried their own slammed doors. Afterward, strangers approached her. Sons, daughters, partners. "I saw myself," one whispered. "I left too." Another said, "Your story gave me courage." Anna hugged them, her throat tight. She realized her story no longer belonged only to her. It had become a mirror for anyone told they weren't enough. Later Theo raised a glass. To locked doors turned open ground. Miriam added, "To stories that build, not bow." Anna smiled through tears. To Felicia, for seeing me first. They clinked glasses. Back in her apartment, Anna hung the festival badge on her wall beside Felicia's letter. She typed a new draft, polishing dialogue, refining scenes. She whispered the sticky note mantra above her desk. Clarity beats drama. Truth beats noise. Each keystroke felt lighter, freer. For the first time she didn't dread the unknown. She leaned on the typewriter keys, the old promise pressing her fingers. "We're just starting," she whispered. Producers began calling. Meetings filled her calendar. Some wanted to cut the story down, soften the edges. Anna shook her head. No guilt bait. No false bows. One producer frowned. It might be too harsh. Anna met his gaze. Then it's not yours to buy. Theo and Miriam supported her, holding the line. Protect Anna, Theo reminded every meeting. She learned to say no without apology. The power that once shut her out now sat in her hands, firm and steady. Weeks turned into steady progress. Contracts signed, grants approved, castings solidified. Anna often walked home under the city lights, thinking of that first slammed door. It no longer haunted her. It reminded her of how far she had come. One night she passed a family arguing on a porch. The daughter's voice carried, "I'm not coming back." Anna smiled softly. "Good for you," she whispered, then kept walking. The world was full of locked doors, but she had learned to build her own. On the eve of her film's official shoot, Anna sat at her desk with Felicia's letter in her hand. "You protected me before I could protect myself," she whispered. She slid the letter into her folder once more, not as armor this time but as a companion. Outside, the night smelled like fresh rain. Inside, her apartment glowed with light and possibility. Anna looked at the typewriter, then the laptop. She smiled. Tomorrow we build. The next morning, the crew gathered on set. Cameras rolled, lights blazed, and Anna's words took their full shape. The heroine stood at the locked door, then turned, walking into her own light. Anna watched from behind the monitor, tears blurring her view. This time it wasn't just a story, it was her truth, lived and transformed. When the final take ended, the room erupted in applause. Anna pressed her hands together and whispered, "Do not bow. Build." Moral lesson. When love mixes with control, it isn't love, it's a cage. True freedom begins when you stop begging at locked doors and choose to build your own. What would you do? Choose forgiveness or walk away? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more stories of betrayal, revenge, and healing. Your support helps this channel grow.